Hello everybody, this is Chaos with Chaos Esports Productions, bringing you another viewer cast. Today we've got something a little bit different. I have a game, which is a Masters League game, submitted by MGZ's NeXiuS. Wanted me to do a little cast of this game, because he thought it was a pretty good game. So we're going to just go ahead and cast this like we would be casting a live game, and see how it all turns out. So, I will be doing a little bit of commentation on as far as this build, kind of my thoughts, just so you guys can see a little bit more of a higher level play. Just go from there. So, anyways, so spawning in the lower right-hand corner of Polar Knight Ladder Edition, it is going to be MGZ's NeXiuS, and spawning in the upper portion of this wonderful map is going to be VL's Bio Unison. So, I don't know too much about either of these guys' playstyles, so we will be in for a treat as far as all surprises. Now, I have not seen the whole game. As you can see, the replay has not fully been done. I just did that so some of the text would get out of the way. I had some guy message me earlier. But, so, it does appear that we are going to be getting a Forge Fast Expand out of NeXiuS. I would say that this map is probably more prone to a Forge Fast Expand as opposed to a Gateway Expand, just because it is a little bit of a closer travel distance as far as 6 pools, 12 pools, things like that. So, looks like I'm just going to call him Bio, just for ease of talking. Bio is going for more or less a 15 pool, 16 hatch. Next he's going to be doing a little bit of a pylon block. So, it's definitely going to delay his Nexus just a little bit, but not by too much. So, Nexus will go down after the cancellation, and this drone is just happily dancing around trying to catch the probe. Anyways, looks like he's going to be throwing down probably his gateway and the cannon as quickly as possible, because Lings will be on the way. Decides to go for the cannon first, and the pylon. So, and then I would assume that the gateway would come here shortly. Pylon's mainly just because of the lack of the supply. Doesn't want to be supply blocked for too terribly long. And a little bit late on the gateway, but overall not too bad. So, hatchery's now up, and it looks like for the most part, Bio's just kind of be playing more of the macro game, getting up his third hatchery. So definitely looking to see probably a longer game, just as a function of that. Probes being chrono boosted like a boss. And yeah, so I'll be really interested to see what kind of tech path NeXiuS chooses. He hasn't really scouted the third bait just yet. Actually, doesn't have a probe out on the field. That might cause for some issues a little bit later. But for the most part, he's playing more of a mineral-heavy opening, waiting a fair amount of time to get his gas, and his Cybernetic score will probably be going down fairly shortly. So, Zealot's going to be warped in to finish off this wall off, and then I would assume that this probe will probably be sent out. Meanwhile, back in Bio's base, pretty much just doing his wonderful drone and macroing up, not really doing a whole lot as far as progression into a tech path or a, choice of unit composition as of yet. My guess is we'll probably see the gases go down here shortly, probably around the 6:30, 7-minute mark, so he can start his lair at around 8 minutes. Which is, I would say, a relatively normal timing for a lair. So, yeah, basically going to be chrono boosting out some really nice Overlord spread out of Bio. Pretty much has really good map awareness of pretty much the entire map. And yeah, just kind of doing his things. Probe's going to come in and scout the third base, which is actually a really nice tip for NeXiuS, because that's going to give him an indication that his opponent is being a little bit more greedy, which will hopefully either cause him to go for more of a an aggressive build, or maybe he'll just choose to macro behind it as well. We will just have to find out. Mothership Core and Stalker coming out. Looks like he might be doing a little bit of blink play. DTs aren't really prevalent in this matchup, in my opinion, at least in the early game as like a DT rush. You don't really see that too terribly much in the Masters League, but you never know nowadays. So Lair now coming down at around the 7:30 minute mark. So that should be finishing up here a little bit, about 40 seconds. But yeah, overall Bio's doing a really good job getting his economy up. He's getting up his Roach Warren and his Evo Chamber. Definitely going to be looking to get probably a Roach Hydra composition by the looks of it. He just now got his 5th gas on his 3rd base, so that's kind of interesting. He's definitely going to need that gas to add in the mix of Hydras and things like that. Speed is actually just now being researched, which is, in my opinion, a little bit late, but that's mainly as a function of how long it took him to get his gas before. So let's see, +1 is almost done. Blink is, so Blink is on the way, so we are going to see a very, very heavy Blink push. Only 5 gates as of right now, or 6 gates. So Stalker is patrolling in the back. Basically, the Stalker is just checking out for overlords. Wants to make sure that none of this gets scouted. And at this point, pro production is pretty minimal. This Overseer actually might be able to get in here and see this. The cannon is starting to poke it. Will he see it? He does see the robo. So, wow, that Stalker, bad day. So he goes in, sees the robo, and is a little bit curious. He hasn't seen the Twilight Council over here, which he just now scouts. So he does see the chrono boost on that, so he knows that Blink is probably most likely on the way. Force field now going down, and it looks like we are getting a kind of a bust situation from Bio. But I think overall a really good defense. That force field held off any of those Lings from getting in. So NeXiuS is definitely in a very, very good position as far as holding his defenses. A little bit on the downside, though, is he is pretty far behind as far as getting his 3rd Nexus up. He probably wants to start thinking about getting that down relatively soon, as we see him start to push out on these back rocks. Significant supply deficiency, though, and that's mainly a function of the number of injects that Bio has been able to get on 3 bases for so long. And that's actually starting to get his 4th. So this army that Bio is getting up is going to be pretty scary here very soon. Even denying the potential 4th. So overall, very interesting play so far. We haven't seen really a lot of aggression out of NeXiuS, which in my play style, I tend to be very, very aggressive in the early game just because I hate dealing with like super maxed out Roach Hydra combo, and it's so hard to deal with when you're like 100 supply deficient. So it'll be interesting to see how this gets held off. We do have a full wall off now by NeXiuS. I was thinking that there was a spot in here, but I guess this snow is preventing anybody from getting in. So, 3rd base now going to be going down for NeXiuS. Like I said, very, very passive game so far. Both players have been basically just doing exactly what they want to do as far as getting their upgrades and their unit composition that they want. Bio is almost at a max 200 army. Not quite Stefano style, but definitely comparable. And at this point, Bio's just like, well, I'm gonna throw down a whole bunch of spine crawlers because I'd like to have a bigger army. So minerals in the main are looking pretty good. It's gonna definitely be sitting on those. Okay, so it looks like NeXiuS was finally starting to think about pushing out. We do have a full hunk of wall going up here in the back. That's just a little ridiculous. And actually, it might actually turn out to be a really, really good position for NeXiuS, because he's going to basically sandwich in all of these units. So let's see how these force fields go. He's definitely going to need to plant down a handful. Gets a really, really nice amount of units for free. They don't really do much, so that's definitely going to even the gap a little bit. A couple more sentries and stalkers being warped in. Yeah, so at this point, Bio's just going to sit back, play kind of the passive game, and we'll just have to see how this all turns out. So we got double Immortal being chrono boosted out, which honestly at this point I kind of would think that High Templar would be a really good addition to this composition. A lot of big free shots from those Immortals. That's definitely not a good thing for Bio here. So yeah, so far, like I said, both players have been playing super passive. Still only one Forge coming out for NeXiuS, but we'll have to see how this all pans out in the long run. Holy cow! Spines over here, spines over here, lots and lots of spines everywhere. Holy cow! What is that? Almost 20? God, it's ridiculous. Larva. Definitely has enough larva to max out, well, if need be. So yeah, so Hive is now on the way. So definitely going to be seeing a transition from Bio here shortly into Swarm Host. Ooh, that's a nice little addition to the composition. We'll have to see how that ends up. My guess is he'll probably plant those somewhere around in this area, because with the Enduring Locust, they'll be able to come in here and kind of siege this wall, full wall off. That would be my guess. Lots of Swarm Hosts. Oh, this is looking very, very painful. Tons of Immortals. Holy cow. So yeah, a very interesting playstyle. Now, I really be interested to see how this engagement goes, because in my opinion, this army is, while it's super strong with the extra Immortals, since he's only got a handful of High Templars with Storm, he doesn't really have kind of the meat that you need with the Colossus. So it'll be interesting to see how it all pans out as far as the final hurrah push goes. But I'm going to go ahead and speed it up just a little bit, because I don't want to take too much time. As of right now, it's kind of a very passive game. Both players are just macroing up, sitting, getting their perfect composition, and people are kind of like that super truce. So Locusts are now starting to siege up the main. It looks like NeXiuS is going to be looking to take out or get a another base here shortly. So yeah, so far, both players are just comfortable sitting back, waiting for the other person to make a move. Like I said, these Locusts are going to start getting really annoying real soon, because they'll start actually taking out units for free, as we see one Immortal go immediately down. Zealot run by coming into the third base as well as in the main. And actually, this is actually starting to do a lot of really good damage. I'll go ahead and slow it back down. Whole bunch of Zealots getting warped in. So it looks like NeXiuS is going to try and bait out the army, or the majority of the army, and then come in here with his main force and start taking out some of these spines. So yeah, so these Zealots aren't fully cleaned up. He's more focused on this battle going on. But as we see, if we look at the units tab, there is no observers, so dealing with these Swarm Hosts is going to be quite difficult without having any detection. So definitely going to need to be putting that on fairly shortly. But a couple of these Zealots actually going to town on this Hive, so we'll have to see. We'll have to keep an eye on that. So yeah, so far, if we look at the units tab, you know, we can see that. Actually, the army tab probably makes more sense. We can see that the Zerg player is definitely sitting in a higher advantage as a function of the number of Swarm Hosts that he has, as well as his army count. And that is immediately going to get canceled. So yeah, so I think what NeXiuS really needs to be doing is starting to kind of not look to go this way and just kind of go around to the back. We see a warp in to the side here. This should do a fair amount of damage. These spines will eventually clean it up, but I think overall, definitely doing a good job of keeping the Zerg player at bay as far as half the army over here, Locust kind of doing their thing over there. And now that we got Colossus coming in here, I think we should be seeing a move out relatively quickly here. Both the army supplies have started to, you know, flatten out here. Both players are kind of sitting at the same army comp. Upgrades are looking really, really good for Bio. You know, he's been able to macro up so heavily. It's just been pretty much, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Ceasefire. Yes, it's been like a ceasefire the entire game until like now. So tons of spines coming in here. So we'll have to see how this all pans out. Some nice feedbacks on those Vipers, and the Vipers get completely demolished, and actually the entire army is more or less decimated. These spines really aren't going to have be able to do a whole lot. It's really going to depend on whatever these swarm hosts are able to do. You know, with the amount of storms that NeXiuS have, it's going to be very, very difficult for to Bio to actually do anything. So we'll have to see. We have a whole bunch of units coming out. If we look at the production tab, we see a whole bunch of Corruptors and coming out here very shortly. That's going to be to take out the Colossus. But there's no Greater Spire yet, so he's not going to be able to morph those into Broodlords, and as a function of that, it's not going to really be able to deal with the ground army. I guess he's hoping that the Swarm Host can come in here and defend, maybe? Or maybe he's going to look to play more of attempt... Ooh, wow, those Swarm Hosts can get all the way... Enduring Locusts are awesome. They can go freaking far on creep. It's ridiculous. So yeah, so the majority of the army is going to be engaging here. Looks like NeXiuS is going to throw... Ooh, nice storm! Bio just walked straight through it. Locusts really aren't doing anything. He really needs to focus those Locusts at the front door. But huge battle coming in, big storms, holy cow. And now that these Corruptors are so clumped up right over the Archons are just going to absolutely go to town. And I don't think there's much that Bio can do about this. I mean, he spent a lot of his larva on Hydralisk, which isn't really going to be that great against these two Colossus and the amount of Archons that are still out here, including the number of storms. I think this might actually be GG. I think as passive as game it was, and as big as the army that Bio was able to get out so early, he didn't really choose to be aggressive, and as a function of that, he wasn't able to really do anything, because basically he just waited until the army was fully, you know, all even and whatnot, and just wasn't able to do anything from it. So yeah, so NeXiuS is going to come in here and take out all of these Overlords, and there's not really much that you can do with 80 supply when your opponent's got 176. So, I'm going to say that this is probably going to be GG here. Nice force field going down, blocking the ramp so the Locust cannot get up. But yeah, NeXiuS is going to go to town, and there's really not much that Bio can do. So, overall, GG. I think it was a really well-played game. Obviously, it was very passive, so unfortunately for all of us, we didn't get to see a whole bunch of action except for there at the end. But overall, it was a really good game, and I hope you all enjoyed. So, if you guys would like me to take a look at some of your replays, feel free to send your replays to the email address in the description. I'll be more than happy to take a look at your replays. If you want me to do a little bit of analysis, help let you know where you can improve, please put that in the description of the email. Other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed. Feel free to like, share with your friends on Facebook and Twitter, and subscribe for more StarCraft 2 content here in the near future. So, I hope you guys have enjoyed, and I will see you guys in the next game.